You are now tuned into Beautiful You, Authentic You Radio. Here are your hosts, Irana Tenen and Nakia P. Evans. Beautifully living, authentically in Christ.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Beautiful You, Authentic You radio show. It's another Sunday evening. It's your girl, Nakia P. Super excited, as always, to be here. Another awesome week, another awesome episode of the Beautiful You, Authentic You radio show. Just highlighting and really just being able to chat with awesome women all over. As you know, the last couple of weeks, we have been interviewing some of the co-authors in the book, Walking in My Identity, which released this week, Awesome Sauce. And I'm super excited about that because it is an awesome book. It really is. These women really poured their hearts out. You know, they really talked about how they were able to rediscover God in themselves, you know, and not be able to just talk about it, but be able to walk it out. And that right there is the most important thing ever, is to be able to recognize that and be able to walk it out. You know, I share it a lot, not in the book, but I share it a lot on the Facebook Live as we were talking about walking in my identity and, you know, how this project came about and, you know, just how things were basically put into motion, you know, and how my life had some circumstances where, you know, I couldn't just sit around and be like, oh, well, I'm daddy's girl and I'm this and I'm that. Situations happen. And not only could I just confess and talk about it, but I had to learn how to walk that thing out. I had to be able to walk in my faith. I had to be able to walk in the promises that God has already said, despite my situation, despite my circumstances, you know, despite any and everything that was going on, I had to learn how to walk it out. And that's why I'm so proud of this project. You know, like I shared, we hit some bumps and you know, hit some walls. I ran into some walls a couple of times. But this has been a great success. This has been awesome sauce. So I do have another guest with us on today. She is a co-author of the book. She's an awesome woman of God. You know, I you know, listened to one of her testimonies. It was on the 700 Club. You know, she has a radio show. She's doing big, awesome sauce things. And that's what I love. I love to highlight women that are doing awesome things, not only when you're a part of my stuff, but also when you are doing things that God has, you know, positioned you and has given you to do. So, y'all already know I can talk forever and ever. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring my special guest on. Her name is Lakeisha Boland. Are you there, love?
I am here. How are you doing?
Oh, girl, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come on your show and just to talk with everybody.
Oh, no problem. Super excited and humbled to have you here, love. You know, you're amazing. You know, I'll be watching you on Facebook, what you're posting, what you're doing, and I think that you're doing, you know, amazing things. And, you know, it was just an honor to have you a part of this project, to be able to share your story in this. So I thank you for just, you know, being you and being a part of what we're doing.
Amazing. I am looking forward to this journey, and I know that this book, Walking in My Identity, I'm telling you, I think it's going to touch so many people's lives. When we were writing it, I was speaking it, I was claiming it, I was praying. I think it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do too. So, you know, just tell our audience, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What you do? What you got going on?
Absolutely. I am, like you said, my name is Keisha, and I actually live in Virginia at the moment. I had moved away and went to Atlanta for a little while, and then now I'm back here in Virginia. Just started telling my story about almost a year ago now. I was in 3 different abusive relationships, all of them really bad. And the further I went, you know, each relationship got worse, worse, and worse. And people are always like, why were you in one and then went to another? I don't think people understand that when you aren't delivered, when you aren't healed, you continue to follow that same path that in that same cycle, it continues to follow you and you continue to follow it. So for almost 10 years of my life, I was in domestic abusive relationships, and I was trying my best to get out of those situations, but none of that happened until I finally gave my life to Christ and submitted myself and allowed him to do the work within me and just allowed him to heal me and completely just change my heart and completely just change me from the inside out. It's been a really, really, really long and rough journey, but I would not go back and change this for anything. I definitely think that I'm living my best life now. The story what I went through is helping other people, and I just would not change it. Anything that happened, the broken bones, the bruises, the scars, the black eyes, I would not change it for nothing in this world, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to reach out and help the people that I'm helping now. So right now, I just started my own television show. Yesterday was the first day of tapes, and I'm so excited about that. And I'm continuing doing radio shows. I'm continuing to do magazines, and my book will be coming out this July. So I'm also excited about that, and I'm just ecstatic to just continue to work and do the will of the Lord, and to whatever He's telling me to do, wherever He's telling me to go. I just want to do that and continue just walking in His will.
Awesome. I love it. Awesome. And so, tell us a little bit about the chapter that you wrote, just a little bit, because we still want them about a book, even though it's released. But give us just a little bit about what you shared in your chapter.
In my chapter, I talked about how when I was younger, what I went through, and it actually seemed like to me that it started at a very young age, and I didn't know who I was. Like many of us don't know when we are adolescents and growing up. But I believe everything that I went through at a younger age kind of plays a part and set the tone, for my life now. So not only was I just going through life wandering, not knowing what in the world is going on, how I'm going to make it, I didn't know who I was at all. And then on top of that, domestic violence relationships, having children, I was just a broken woman, a broken individual, and I was constantly questioning who I was, constantly questioning whose I was, and I really had to dig deep, plant my feet, and really go to God and say, listen, I need you to help me. I need you to help me to figure out my identity and help me to walk in it.
I love that, and that's what it's about. I can definitely understand and relate to being broken. And it was something that you said earlier about you being in multiple, violent relationships, abusive relationships, and you mentioned that, when you're broken and when you haven't healed, that's what you do. You run back to that. And I can, and I was like, yeah, you're right, because I was also in a domestic violent situation, and I got out of one thinking that I was just doing good for myself, and turned around and went back into a different relationship, but the same cycle. You know what I'm saying? It was the exact same thing. And so, I can relate to that, because that's exactly what it is. And not even just in abusive relationships, but in any sense of allowing things to happen to us. When we're broken, we continue the cycle. We don't know how to end the cycle until. And I don't know how other people think about it, Keisha, but for me, I think that, there was absolutely nothing else that I could do until I accepted Christ. You know what I'm saying? Until I allowed Him in my life. There was anything else that I tried to do, it just wasn't working. The cycle was still there.
Agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
I definitely agree. I really had to start affirming myself through the Word of God. I really had to start, and I still do it because people think that once you're free, oh, it's just a smooth selling, life. No, it's not. It's still an enemy out who wants to bring you right back, take you right back to where you came from.
That's it.
So we have to continue every day to affirm ourselves in the Word of God. We have to continue to tell ourselves, I'm ahead and not beneath. I'm above and not beneath. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm an overcomer. We have to continue to tell ourselves that every single day. And also, if we are the parents of children who have been in the household with us when we went through those things, we not only have to affirm ourselves, but we have to affirm those children through the Word of God too.
Absolutely.
Because being in the household, my children, they were in the household with me going through domestic violence relationships. I had to make sure that my daughter would not fall victim, and I had to make sure my son would not become an abuser.
Right.
I didn't want her to have a child out of wedlock. I didn't want her to have a child as a teenager. So it was so much that I had to do. I mean, I really just see how the enemy sets it up, all up. When you're smaller and the younger child, he sets it all up for your future to just be just all entangled. And then if that happens, you can't go out here and help anybody. So he started very early planting seeds. And here we are, not only now, I didn't only have to help myself, but then here I was as a broken woman. Now I had to help my children once God healed me and set me free from those things. So it's an ongoing journey, and it's an ongoing healing process that we have to continue to take.
Absolutely, and you are so right. That is what we have to do. And, and I tell people all the time, everything that I do is around, unmasking, taking off the mask, being authentic, being a daddy's girl, being in him,
right.
Being in Christ. And I tell people just because that's the ministry and the platform that God has given me, that does not mean that Nakia has it all together. Every day, I have to, just like you said, affirm myself. I have to keep going because there are situations and things that happen, and because of how it feels or it's not, comfortable or something, it's almost like it's normal, and it's just an instinct of ours to run back to that which we were comfortable in. And so when you live majority of your life not knowing who you are or living behind a mask, that is what you will run to. That is what you'll run to. And so, I tell people, this is something that you have to do all the time because there are things that will come up against you to make you want to go backwards.
Right.
It'll make you want to go backwards. Just a couple of weeks ago, girl, I had to get my life together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really did. Because
right.
It was so much going on, and I wanted to fall back into that little hole. I wanted to be by myself. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to do any of that. I just wanted to be left alone. And if it wasn't for my daughter, because I love that because she speaks life into me just as much as I speak into her. And my mother and people that are close to me, they're like, okay, Kia, you can get through this. You know what I'm saying? You got to push. You got to remember who you are, not just talking about it. But now you have to start making those steps. Now you have to start, living and walking this thing out. And that is what I'm so passionate about when it comes to this book, because just like you and all the other women around, we've experienced situations where we did not know how to walk this out. We didn't know how to take the first step. And if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for what he did for us, if it wasn't for him healing us and showing us and revealing to us who we truly are in him, not what the world says, but what he says, there's absolutely no way we would have been able to do it.
Right. Absolutely. And I totally agree with everything you just said. And I know that you were going through the warfare because of what God had planned for this day. When the book came out, the enemy said, no, I'm not going to allow it. Nakia's not going any further. This book project is not going any further. I'm going to come into her life. I'm just going to disrupt all God's plans. And I know she's going to go back. I know she's going to go back into the world. I know she's going to go back and do the things that she said she would no longer do. But see, the enemy does not count on us saying, you know what? My faith is stronger than this. He does not count on us saying, you know what? No, God. I have a God inside of me. I have a God inside of me that's much bigger than all my problems. So he thinks, that's it. They're going right back, and they're going to fall right back into everything they are. And I'm so glad that you pushed through and you said, no, I'm not, because it's okay. We get down sometimes. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
To happen. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely.
It's to happen. But we have to get up. We have to get up. And I'm so glad you got up.
Yeah, I thank God for it. I really do, because it was all him. You know, it was not the kid. It was all him, because, you know, if it was not for him, I probably would have stayed down. You know,
right.
and there were times, like, you know, just like I said, like, I hit the wall with this project. And, I mean, you know, I've done, you know, book collaborations before, The Woman Behind the Mask, both books. And, yes, I have had some situations come against me, and I knew that I needed to push through, because I knew that the enemy did not want these things to happen, because we were having women, you know, embrace and say, hey, I'm taking off this mask. I'm not going to live like this no more. You know, I'm going to live in Christ. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And
right.
I knew that I didn't want that to go through. But, honey, this project,
yeah.
can I tell you, you know, it was so much deeper, because now we're talking about not just taking off the mask, but now you're about to walk into what God has said. You're walking
right.
into that calling. You're walking into that. And he did not want it. And it seemed like everything was piling and coming against me on this. And,
right.
you know, I thank God that, you know, I was able to still push, and that I had, you know, an amazing group of women who not only, you know, just supported the vision, but being able to say, you know what, Nakia, I see that. I see this. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And I'm praying for you. You know, it's okay. This book is still going to come out, because I was starting to have doubts. I was like, wait a minute, God. Like, I don't know.
right.
I don't know about this. But,
right.
you know, I thank him for that. I really do, because it was completely him. So, Keisha, now, let's go into something. You have been posting on Facebook. I see that you have your TV show, your radio, and all of this going on. Like, how did that start flowing? How did that start coming about?
Well, like I said, I started telling my story less than a year ago, almost a year ago now. And at the time, I had got off of Facebook. I had said, you know what, I'm just going to take a sabbatical from Facebook. I'm just going to enjoy my life, because I found myself just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling for no reason whatsoever. And it was just really becoming really a distraction in my life, Facebook was. So I got off for a year, and God says to me one day, he said, tell your story. And I'm like, really? Oh, no, I don't really want to do all that. I'm in a good place in my life. I'm just going to keep moving. But I got on the biggest platform I knew, which was Facebook, and I just started sharing my story. I started connecting with advocates for domestic violence. I started connecting with survivors from all over the world before I knew it. And I did my website. It's so important for when you want to get somewhere to have a website, so it can be, you know, your home, and people can go and see what you're doing and what is going on in your life, and they can contact you. So once I started just telling my story, I mean, I just started getting, I don't even know how I was in the minds, the thoughts of these people, but I would wake up one morning, and next thing I knew, I had an email from Sibn saying, hey, we want to tell your story on the 700 Club. And after that, it was just a whirlwind. I mean, the news was at my house every single day for months. I started working on a collaboration, and I did that collaboration first, Wounds to Wisdom. We went to a book release, and I started networking there with people. But it truly is just from me starting on Facebook, just started posting everything and just being around people that went through the things that I went through and were trying to do the same thing that I did. And even today, I'm telling you, I get emails. I just accepted another offer to speak at an NAACP banquet. I just accepted a magazine cover thing. I'm just amazed. I'm sitting here and I'm like, God, I have no idea how you're doing this, but I'm just going to be obedient, and I'm just going to do what you're telling me to do. And because I'm being obedient in that, you know, he's allowing these blessings to happen. And by no stretch of the imagination is it easy, because I'm going through more warfare now than I've ever went through in my entire life, not just from friends, but from family. I mean, the warfare is real.
Yes, it is.
But being obedient, I'm scared to not be obedient. Obedience is better than sacrifice. I'd rather be obedient than sacrifice any time.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really just making it happen, and I'm just doing what he's telling me to do.
Awesome sauce. That's great. Congratulations. Well, that is awesome. Awesome. Yeah, awesome sauce. Now, so what's next for you? I mean, I know that you just said the offers that you have, but what else? Is there anything else that you're planning to do, or the books that you're going to write? I know you have one coming out in July, but anything after that?
Yes, I have my book that I'm personally writing that's going to be coming out in July. I have a television show, like I just stated, that just started, and we're on 2 different networks. I have something else that's really big coming up, but I can't speak of that right now because I'm waiting for a confirmation, so I'm praying about that. But in my city here, I do a lot of advocating for survivors, and I'm just excited to start my own organization. I started it already, I Bleed Purple, but I am just trying to see what I can do, reaching out. I'm getting my 501 just to be able to help people within my own community. I don't want to just go out to Texas and Atlanta and this place and that place and help people, but I want to help people within my own community as well.
Right. Okay. Awesome. I love that. So, what would you say if there's someone that's listening or listening to our replay that may be in an abusive relationship? What would you say to her?
I would say to her that you can get out of that relationship. You can be free again. You can be happy again. When we're in abusive relationships, we feel like, it's various things that take place within that relationship. The isolation, the manipulation that makes you feel like you have nowhere to go to. It makes you feel like no one is there. And you just don't know what to do. You don't know where to turn. And you just wonder and think, will I ever be out of this? And I thought that I would be out of it, but I thought that I would be out by dying. I really did think that one of my abusers would take my life. We have to take steps. When you're in an abusive relationship, you can't just get up and run. You can't do that. The most crucial time for someone that's going through domestic abuse, the most crucial time is when they say, I'm leaving. Okay? You can't just get up in the middle of the night. You can't just get up in the middle of the day where your abuser is and say, you know what, I'm gone. You can't do that. You have to be smart, and you have to have a strategic plan set in place to leave. If that man, if he's abusing you and you get up and you say, you know what, I'm gone, I'm out of here, you have no idea what he can do at that moment. Right. So my number one advice, be smart about it. Be really, really smart about it. Make a plan. That's what I had to do. I had to make a plan, and it took me weeks to leave. But I knew when I was going. I made a plan. I confided in only my best friend who I trusted, who I knew wouldn't go and tell my business to him or let him know where I was. I said, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is when I'm leaving. This is where I'm going to go. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I had to have a plan in place. I had to have somebody I trusted, and I had to have the courage to leave when it was time. Statistically, someone who's been abused goes back to the abuser 12 times before they leave or before they die in that relationship. And that's true. I left many times, and I came back a lot of times. So like I said, you have to have a plan in place in order to leave. You have to be smart about it. And when it's time to go, when you have that time that says it's now, you have to have the courage to walk out of that house and say, you know what, I can make it, I can be free, and I can be happy again.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Awesome sauce. Now, can you tell our audience, how can they stay in contact with you? How can they connect with you? If they would like to book you, how can they get to you?
Absolutely. My website is www.freeandfearless.net. All of my books are there. My events are on that website. There's also a contact page where they can contact me. They can contact me on Facebook at Keisha Bowling. Instagram, I am Keisha Bowling. So all of those social media outlets, they can definitely contact me. And I would probably go to the website first because there's a contact form there where they can just send me a direct email message, and then I will be able to email them back as well.
Okay. All right. Well, awesome sauce. Thank you so much, Keisha, for, coming and kicking it with us, sharing your story. Like I said, it was amazing to be able to read it. And I do, greatly appreciate you being a part of the collaboration, for just being an awesome woman of God, doing what you do, allowing God to use you to touch the lives of many all over. So you are doing amazing things. So, keep it up. And it was great talking with you.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you having me once again on this platform. I'm going to continue praying for you and everything that you have going on, Nakia.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, love. I'm sorry, were you saying something else?
No, I said you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you were saying something else. No problem at all. So thank you again. And to my audience, y'all already know, thank you so much for kicking it with me on this Sunday evening. Every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are here for the Beautiful You, Authentic You radio show, okay? Next week, we're going to have some awesome sauce ladies with us again. So make sure that you tune in. And listen, if you know someone who needs to hear what we discussed today, someone who may be in an abusive relationship, someone who may need to, connect with Keisha or anything like that, make sure you share this, okay? So what you can do is go on Facebook, all right, and hit me up, Nakia P. Evans, on Facebook, and you will be able to see the link because this is shared all across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Periscope at the same time. So make sure that you connect, follow me, and share this out, all right? Share this out. Make sure you get this around if you know that there's, anyone who needs to hear what we have spoken or needs to connect with Keisha, all right? So, again, thank you, everyone. I hope to see y'all next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same number. Make sure that you be here. We're going to kick it out. My co-host, Irena Tennant, will be back with us next week, so make sure that you do that. Again, guys, have an awesome sauce night. You already know. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and we'll kick it next week. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.